Hello and welcome back to AniCap Explained. Today we'll be recapping the anime Tsukimiki Moonlit Fantasy. Let's begin. Musumi Makoto, a high schooler, is living a mundane life when a deity named Tsukiyami teleports him to another world to become a hero. However, the goddess of the other world mocks his looks and banishes him to her wasteland, bestowing him only with the power to understand all non-human languages. That way he can comprehend the monster's language. After strolling for 3 straight days in the wasteland, Makoto runs into a young orc named Emma and protects her against 2-headed wolf monsters. He salvages the bogey, unlocking his strengths when Emma tells him they sacrificed her to the god Shin to dispel fog from her village. She escorts him to her town and he starts learning magic to salvage Shin, which is a monster. Shin tries to create an illusion of happy memory for Makoto and stumbles across his memories of Japan. Subsequently, when Makoto breaks the illusion, Shin forms a contract with him to be his familiar. She then transforms into a samurai girl. Makoto realizes Shin is obsessed with his memories of samurai and historical dramas. She teleports him to another dimension that resembles Japan's countryside. Makoto informs the orcs that he has taken over Shin, who invites them to a place apt for farming. Shin continues looking into his memories and demands Makoto build a television. On the other hand, he plans to discover more about his parents, who resided in this world before they shifted to Japan. Shin brings a wounded dwarf with news that their dimension is being attacked by a spider called Black Disaster, who is cursed with undying hunger and consumes everything on his way. Makoto can obliterate the spider but blackouts when the spider revives. Shin tries to intervene, but the spider announces the end of its masochistic hunger and forms a contract with Makoto to turn into his human familiar. Makoto wakes to find out he has another busted female servant on his team. The dwarf is later identified as Burin, who can draft artifacts. Burin joins the squad and shifts his village to Shin's dimension. He renamed Shin as Tomo and the spider as Mio. Makoto finds out that Mio and Tomo went recruiting when he collapsed. To his surprise, the village was populated by orcs, dwarves, mist lizards, and alk spiders. Matako returns to the everyday world from the dimension and stumbles across a human town that ambushes him. Tomo translates the situation by stating that humans mistook him for Demon Lord because of his magical solid aura. He learns the human languages and asks the dwarf to craft items to conceal his aura. Later they enter the village disguised as merchants and play an adventure guild where Tomo and Mio outdo all other adventurers. Tomo learns her friend Lancer has been killed by an adventurer, Sophia Bolga. Makoto and Mio are approached by a girl named Rainon, whose sister Tao vanished. On the other hand, Tomo catches the thieves following the wagon of commodities. She kills the 3 thieves unintentionally and captures the 4th one. Rainon sketches Tao and Makoto through the thief's memories and discovers that the thieves had kidnapped her. Mio and Tamo embark on a journey to retrieve the girl. Makoto realizes Tao resembles a girl he knew back in Japan named Hasegawa. Mio and Tamo locate the kidnapper named Mills Ace, the most vigorous contemporary adventurer, along with Tao. Rainon sneaks out and Makoto's generosity backlashes as she tells the thieves about his wagon of expensive fruits. She is forced to steal Makoto's gold but steps back thinking of his kindness. On the other hand, Mio and Tomo are asked to kill Makoto by the gang leader Mills. The 2 familiars then massacre the gang leader and his squad and demolish a part of the city. The 2 sisters reunite, and Makoto finds out Tao is Hasegawa's doppelganger, but she has different hair color. Makoto re-registers himself to a new town named Sage, as the previous one was demolished. He trains in Sage without bringing it to Tomo's notice and kills many monsters with Mio. Tao harvests these valuable parts, including ruby eye insects. After he re-registers himself, he commemorates the incident with the elven archer, Luisa Ranina, the dwarf priest knight, and Hazal, a human alchemist. Makoto plans to sell off Ruby's eye and returns to his village. Upon his arrival, Emma reports that Alk has chosen mountains as their abode, dwarves are constructing their homes, mist lizards are clearing the farmlands, and orcs have started putting their labor into building Makoto a castle. Makoto is concerned about Tamo, who has been out of sight for too long. He also discovers that demi-planes grow more potent magical ingredients than normal ones. He also fetches Ruby Eye to Rembrandt to sell it. Before we move forward, please like and subscribe to our channel. Done? Well then let's continue. The manager at Rembrandt acts offhand until he witnesses Ruby's Eye and atones himself. The excited manager then discloses that Ruby's Eye fabricates ambrosia, which is a cure to a curse that has been cast on his wife and daughter. Makoto, attempting to register as a merchant, passes a written test which turns out to be a basic mathematics exam. The next phase of registration includes submitting for intimidating items. Following the rule, he lodges Ruby's eye as a substitute for the 4 most dangerous items. Back to the demi-plane, Makoto plans to play mind games with the merchants to persuade them to buy the demi-plane's products and create a demand for them back in their hometowns. Meanwhile, Makoto realizes Mio has become addicted to his anime memories and confuses both his familiars as he decides to sleep alone. They then plan to seduce him. Hazal and Makoto team up to brew ambrosia while other adventurers gather up to stop Rembrandt's manager Patrick. Hazal is able to brew ambrosia out of Ruby's eyes, and Makoto holds back Patrick's wife Lisa, who has turned into a monster. Patrick administers the potion to Lisa and their daughter, who a witch also cursed. Patrick also succeeds in having the witch murdered. Makoto returns to Mio and Tamo and discovers that another adventurer named Lime Latte and his great allies have attacked them. After the genocide of 200 nemesis, they capture Lime and get his words. He reveals he wanted revenge on Patrick as he led many adventurers to death. Patrick restrained many adventurers who were not in his good books from getting further work, leading them into quests that were too hefty to handle. He then apologizes to Patrick. On that, Patrick forgives him and sets him free while Lime retires from adventurers. Tomo had glimpsed it in his memories that Lime had been sending his wages to the orphanage where he grew old, and gifted him with a dwarf who would secretly spy him for her. As Makoto returns to the demi-plane, a problem awaits him. Emma has prepared herself to inform him about the new challenge. He stumbles that the warriors in his village are depressed and thus decides to arrange weekly contests to make them feel more substantial. The 2 familiars and their master re-register themselves. Meanwhile, a vacancy is open as Lime resigns as an adventurer. Makoto replaces Lime with Tao and requests Tamo to train her. She vigorously teaches Tao and company and tests their abilities by challenging them to defeat 100 nests of ape monsters. Makoto is also planning to open a firm, and decides to collect ambrosia flowers that make Ruby Ant's eyes valuable. He also asks Patrick to find him a space for business on rent. The villagers commemorate Makoto's opening ceremony of his trading firm. They find ambrosia flowers in another world and choose not to harvest them as the elves guard these flowers. During the archery training, Tamo deduces that when Makoto focuses on the target, he dies for milliseconds as he merges with the environment. Resultantly, his mana rises to god level. If the rise in his powers keeps surging, the goddess who banished him will see him as her foe and will try to assassinate him. The dwarves try to suppress his mana through artifacts, and Makoto invites Mio to negotiate with these elves. Other adventurers also attempt to steal the flower but are attacked by the elves. Makoto teleports these adventurers to a demi-plane and holds out an olive branch with elves Aqua and Eris and their master Mondo. Makoto links up with Nilgistori and other elders. Adobo, who is Nilgistori's son, is aggressive about the wilting barrier that protects the forest. Makoto realizes Mondo overhears the conversation between Adano and an unknown person. Shortly after, a spirit departs from Mondo's body and kills Adano. Makoto captures the essence as he identifies it as a lich. Tomo discloses that she created the forest barrier several years back at Nilgistori's request. Lich reveals he wanted to be a Grand who could travel between different worlds like gods. He then signs a contract with Makoto, and Lich turns into an attractive young man who promises Makoto to teach him the magic he knows. Tomo collapses after a magical explosion and gets rescued by Lick and Makoto. Makoto then stumbles across the portal to a different world that has opened after the blast. It is then revealed that a prostitute and company tried to steal magical ingredients from Makoto's trading firm and are intervened by the guards. The chaos then leads to an explosion of a ring full of magic. This explosion had killed Tomo's child Fragment and an orc. He kills the prostitute, and Lick, who is now named Shiki, tells him that he could look into people's memories because it was Tomo's power, and she trusted him implicitly. He gets teleported to a distant battlefield where 2 dragon warriors attack him. The warriors introduce themselves as Sophia Bolger and Mitsurugi, top adventurers worldwide. These warriors elucidate that they aim to kill all the humans. Makoto removes all his suppressing instruments and fights against them with all his mana. He shatters Sophia's sword and overwhelms the other with his magical skills. He then teleports to another safer place, leaving 2 of his foes behind, who swear to take their revenge on the protagonist. Makoto instructs Patrick to destroy the army as a powerful mage, but Patrick cannot identify the message's sender. Shiki deduces that the goddess has exploited Makoto to destroy the military, and she might be observing them even now. Tomo shocks Mio as she reveals she had created another fragment by deploying Makoto's manga and named it Como. Como calling Makoto as Papa funnily aggravates Mio. He is indeed able to open a trading shop. The villagers then throw a party to celebrate the incident, and Makoto feels assured about his future. If you liked it, then please consider liking and subscribing to AniCap Explained. See you at the next one.